Hallo, herzlich willkommen. Ich bin Susanne. In this video, I will explain how to create relative clauses out of two main clauses in dative and in genitive case. So I will be explaining in English, though all my examples will be in German. And I always will present you two main clauses. Out of these, we will create one relative clause. And today it's all about the dative case and the genitive case. And I also have tasks, exercises, homework, if you will, for you. So maybe you would love to practice, then I would love you to engage and create those sentences, put them underneath the video. I would love to see them. So let's go with dative case and our first examples. Mein Vater erntet im Garten viele Gurken. Ihm, meinem Vater, gehört das Gewächshaus. Here you have two main clauses, and what we want to do is we want to create one relative clause. Mein Bezugswort ist mein Vater, the word of reference, and it is male, it is singular. And in my second main clause, we need to have a look in which case the father stands in. An indication could be the verb gehören. If you know the verb gehören, you know it is a dative verb. So the father is in dative case. Ihm. So we do need a relative pronoun in dative case. And that is for singular male dative dem. And now we can create our relative clause. Mein Vater, dem das Gewächshaus gehört, erntet im Garten viele Gurken. There's a comma between the Bezugswort, the word of reference, and the relative pronoun. The relative pronoun is referring to the father, and that's why they stand together. You can also see the relative clause has its conjugated verb at the end, and if you take out the relative clause, you will see that a perfect written main clause will stay. Mein Vater erntet im Garten viele Gurken. And why is the relative pronoun in dative case? Because in that sentence, in that second main clause, that is now your relative clause, the father is in dative. So we need the relative pronoun to be in dative as well. Here is the second example. Meine Freunde waren gestern zu Besuch. Ihnen, meinen Freunden, haben die Salate gut geschmeckt. Two main clauses here. Meine Freunde is the Bezugswort, the word of reference, so that is plural. In my second main clause, you can see the verb schmecken, and schmecken is also a dative verb. So ihnen or meinen Freunden is actually dative case. So we do need to have a relative pronoun in dative case for plural, and that is denen. Let's put the sentence together. Meine Freunde, denen die Salate gut geschmeckt haben, waren gestern zu Besuch. At any point of time, stop the video and read the sentence again if you need to, or stop the video before I tell you the relative clause and maybe you figure it out yourself before you can compare my relative clause with your relative clause. That would be a nice way of practicing. Here is another example. Meine Freundin lebt in Leipzig. Ich gehe mit ihr oft wandern. Meine Freundin is singular female. And in the second sentence, you can see mit ihr. Mit is a dative preposition. So ihr is dative. She is in the dative case. So we do need relative pronoun to be in dative case as well. And for singular female dative case, it is der. But now there's something that we also need to pay attention to, the preposition mit. We need to include the preposition mit into our relative clause. I show you how. Meine Freundin, mit der ich oft wandern gehe, lebt in Leipzig. My friend with whom I often go hiking lives in Leipzig. Now we do have the preposition mit right after the comma, followed by the relative pronoun in dative case. Here's another example. Mein Lieblingsbuch liegt auf dem Tisch. In dem Buch lese ich gern. Das Buch, mein Lieblingsbuch, ist neuter, singular. In dem Buch is in dative. So the book is in dative case. For neuter, singular, dative, the relative pronoun is dem. Now, we also have in, a preposition in. That preposition needs to be part of our relative clause as well. Just like in the previous sentence. Stop the video here if you would like to try yourself first. So, my relative clause is mein Lieblingsbuch, in dem ich gern lese, liegt auf dem Tisch. And now I do have tasks for you, homework or exercises. If you would love to practice a little bit at home, here they are. Meine Kaffeetasse ist weiß. Aus dieser Tasse trinke ich meinen Kaffee am liebsten. Create one relative clause out of these two main clauses. Put your sentence below this video if you like. I would love to see it. And here's your next task. Mein Arbeitstisch ist aus weichem Holz. In dem Holz sind viele Kratzer. Third exercise. Montags fahre ich gern in ein Café. In dem Café sitze ich gern am Fenster. And your fourth exercise. Oft träume ich von einem Spaziergang barfuß am Strand, im Sand und auf dem Sand fühlen sich meine Füße frei. That's a bit more complex, but nevertheless, the same principles apply. So, try to create a relative clause out of these main clauses and see whether you have understood relative clauses. And if you have questions, please ask me anytime and put your questions below the video. And let's go to genitive, the genitive case. Here's my first example for you. Mein Neffe hat heute Geburtstag. Der Vater des Neffen ist mein Bruder. Oder der Vater meines Neffen ist mein Bruder. Neffe ist male singular, der Neffe. In the second sentence, der Vater meines Neffen It's the noun of the noun. That means possessive. And possessive means genitive always. So that is your indication. The genitive relative pronoun for male singular is dessen. Let's create the relative clause. Mein Neffe, dessen Vater mein Bruder ist, hat heute Geburtstag. Next example. Das ist meine Freundin, ihre Mutter ist super sportlich. Das ist meine Freundin. Meine Freundin ist your Bezugswort, female singular. Ihre Mutter. Her mother. Now her mother is possessive and possessive means genitive. So genitive, the genitive relative pronoun for female singular is deren. So the relative clause is das ist meine Freundin, deren Mutter supersportlich ist. Here's another example. Das Kind ist hingefallen. Der Vater des Kindes kommt zur Hilfe. Das Bezugswort das Kind, neuter singular. Der Vater des Kindes, again, the noun of the noun, the father of the child. It's possessive and possessive means genitive. Now, das Kind is neuter, so my relative pronoun, neuter singular in genitive case is dessen. Das Kind, dessen Vater zur Hilfe kommt, ist hingefallen. Next example. Die Yogaschüler sind alle da. Ich mag ihr Lachen. Die Yogaschüler, the yoga students, that is plural, your word of reference. In the second sentence, I like their smile. So it's possessive, and possessive means genitive. The genitive relative pronoun for plural is deren, just like female singular. Die Yogaschüler, deren Lachen ich mag, sind alle da. By now you might think, oh my God. It's okay. I have tasks for you to practice, and here they are. Your first two main clauses. Das ist unser lieber Nachbar. Seine Frau ist unheimlich nett. Create one relative clause out of these two main clauses. Next example or exercise for you. Das Zimmer muss renoviert werden. Seine Wände sehen alt und fade aus. Seine, in this case, you might think is his, but seine can also mean its. So seine Wände sehen alt und fade aus. You create one relative clause out of these two main clauses. Here's your next exercise. Das sind Herr und Frau Liebke. Mit ihrer Tochter verstehe ich mich sehr gut. Create one relative clause. And here's your last homework. Erika heiratet bald. Thomas ist in ihre Schwester verliebt. Erika heiratet bald. Thomas ist in ihre Schwester verliebt. Create one relative clause out of these two main clauses. If you want to know more about relative clauses in nominative and in accusative case, check out my previous video and you will see that I have already created one video about relative clauses in accusative and in nominative case. This was basically part 2 of relative clauses, this time in this video in dative and in genitive case. Ask me anything you like below the video. Write your sentences below the video. I'm so happy to give you feedback. And for now, vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und ich wünsche euch einen wundervollen Tag, eine wundervolle Woche. Tschüss, bis bald und auf Wiedersehen.